Welcome to Hard Time Sports. I'm Matthew. This topic is my power rankings from week number 15. Let's start off with the worst five for the week. At number five, I have the LA Chargers for last week. They played the Kansas City Chiefs last Saturday and played absolutely terrible when their lives for a playoff spot were on the line. And Philip Rivers had three interceptions and they had a fumble and got destroyed by the Chiefs. That's the way you play when your playoff lives are on the line. You deserve to be in my bottom five for the week. Now, let's go to number four. I'm going to go the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns aren't going to win a game this year. Not a game. This coming week is their best chance to win a game against the Bears because they end with the Steelers. They lose this week, they're going to go 0-16. So the Cleveland Browns are my fourth worst team for the week. Nothing much else to say about Cleveland. They just stink. Now let's go to number three for the week. I'm going to go the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans played terrible when they played the Jacksonville Jaguars. Absolutely terrible in that game last week. Now let's go to number two for the week. I'm going to go to Cincinnati Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals played terrible last week. When they played, I believe it was the Chicago Bears last week. The Bears, no, it was not the Bears. The Cincinnati Bengals lost last week when they played the Minnesota Vikings. They got absolutely destroyed. So that's why they're at number two. Now, let's go to number one for the week. I'm going to go the worst team from the last week. I'm going to go to Seattle Seahawks. You know why I'm going to go to Seattle Seahawks? Because they lost to the Rams 42-7 at home. Home, a place where they have dominated teams for the last 5 or 6 years at home. And you get beat 42-7, you are the worst team for the week. Bar none. Even over Cleveland, who hasn't won a game this year. Terrible game by the Seattle Seahawks. Now, let's go to my top five for the week. At number five, I'm going to go the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs are probably going to win the division now because they've won 2 games in a row. I haven't picked them in a couple weeks to play for my picks, but they have played better the last couple weeks. So I put them at number five with a much-needed win over the Chargers last week to probably win a division. Now, at number four, I'm going to go to Minnesota Vikings. They absolutely destroyed the Bengals last week, so they're back in my top five for the week at number four. They're going to win the division. They're going to win this week when they play Green Bay. And they have a chance to get home field advantage throughout the NFC playoffs. If they do, they'll probably get to the Super Bowl. Very good chance. So they're at number four. Now, let's go to number three for the week. I'm going to go to New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints got to win out. If they don't win out, they might not win the division, but they can still get the playoffs as a wild card. They want to win the division because historically, the Saints only do good when they play at home in the playoffs. If they have to go on the road, historically, they're not a very good road playoff team. So they need to have at least one game at home. So they need to win out so they can win at division and get the number 3 seed or something like that at least. They have a home game. So they're at number three. And now let's go to number two for the week. I'm going to go to Jacksonville Jaguars. They made the playoffs for the first time in 10 years. First time in 10 years. Congratulations to the Jacksonville Jaguars on earning a playoff spot. They're at number two as they beat the Houston Texans last week. Now, my number one team for last week, I'm going to go to Los Angeles Rams. They absolutely took it to Seattle at every facet of the game, running the ball down their throat. Jared Goff did not play so good as a quarterback, only threw for like 140-something yards passing, which I thought was a surprise because Seattle had a beat-up secondary, and I thought they would be able to throw it more than run it, but it was the opposite. With Todd Gurley having 3 touchdowns and absolutely destroyed them last week on the ground. That's why I picked the Rams as the number 1 team for last week in my top 5 and bottom 5. So those round out my power rankings for week number 15. Now it is off to week number 16 of my NFL picks, which will be coming up here shortly. I'm Matthew. Enjoy the blog!